Hi everyone, welcome back to the Sports Breakdown. So we brought in a special guest to discuss the post-match analysis of the second Test match between Sri Lanka versus West Indies. We brought in Nikhil Uttamchandhani, if I'm not mistaken. I hope I pronounced it right. Yeah. So yes, welcome Nikhil to the Sports Breakdown. So we just want a small introduction from you. I've heard that you're a sports journalist and you're a cricket commentator, and I watched your videos on YouTube as well. And I've also seen your stories. I think with Satvik, I think yesterday with the Statsman about the tweet on Craig Brathwaite and Ruston Chase. I think picking up 5 wicket hauls. So yeah, small introduction of you on how you got into cricket and how you enjoy being a cricket commentator and sports journalist. And I also think you're involved with the CPL as well, especially for Barbados Royals. And obviously, we know that Barbados gained, they are a republic right now. So I think no longer, I think they are from the British monarchy, and they have appointed a head of state in Barbados. Yeah, I think you're from Barbados. Yes. So yeah, just a small introduction. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I think you already covered a lot of things there, Paul. And thanks so much for having me on the Total Sports Breakdown. Yeah, it's just I'm sort of an aspiring cricket commentator, journalist, cover the West Indies, and as you said, I would have had the opportunity to work with the Barbados Royals at the CPL. And yeah, big massive moment for Barbados in terms of breaking away from the British monarchy and becoming a republic. I think it's a massive step in terms of the overall history, just for the overall country. So fantastic to see, that sort of unfolding a couple of days ago.
Yeah, great. So let's go on to the post-match analysis of the second test, which obviously Sri Lanka won somehow. I really don't know. I thought it's going to be a draw, in my opinion, when it was 1 wicket down in lunch in day 5. But somehow Sri Lanka managed to unfold West Indies in day 5 and a sudden collapse. But let's discuss on the first innings of Sri Lanka, especially not pretty. I know it rained in day 1, but yeah. Yeah, thoughts on Sri Lanka's batting was a big surprise, right? I mean, day 2 usually they don't get bowled out for 204 like that, and then West Indies getting a lead in the first innings. Yeah, so thoughts on that, Nikhil? Yeah.
Yeah, I think the West Indies bowled really well in that first innings. Versamy Permaul, picking
Yeah.
up 5, obviously massive to see how sort of he's dominated the first class level for so long in in the Caribbean.
Yeah.
And then spend 6 years out of the Test team, but be able to come back and just be able to get wickets at that capacity. I think his control and also the attacking intent to continuously make the batters play. That to me sort of was what stood out about his spell, and I think he was also well supported by Warwickon. I think Jamal Warwickon has had a really good record in Asia, and he's continuing to enhance it. So I think the two of those guys were brilliant to watch in the first innings, and honestly, the West Indies did really well on what was a pretty placid surface to restrict Sri Lanka to just 204.
Hmm. Were you surprised that Permaul wasn't played in the first test? Especially, I know that Cornwall can bat and bowl. Especially, we know he's all rounder. But Permaul, I mean, when he was just given the ball, I think I don't know in the middle overs, I think of that innings of Sri Lanka, and him all of a sudden getting the line and picking up 5 wickets. And I think the commentator, I think Fazir Mohammed, if I'm not mistaken, when Permaul was first bowling, he said his action is too quick and he may not be able to get wickets compare and might not get the turn compared to Warwickon and Chase. But then we saw Permaul getting a 5 wicket haul and surprised so many of us. I mean, cricket fans. Yeah. So thoughts on I mean Permaul, because he's had a fabulous first class, picking up 544 first class wickets, if I'm not mistaken, in 122 matches. Yeah. So yes, Nikhil, your thoughts on that? Yes.
Yeah, definitely, it was surprising at first. I just thought, Raheem Cornwall being the premier spinner for the West Indies in Asia, especially. But to hear Roddy Estwick, the bowling coach of the West Indies, explanation as to why, given the amount of right-handers that they had, obviously the traditional challenge is the ball going away from the batter. So in the end, I think it worked out for the West Indies, and I really credit them for making that decision because it's a bold move to go with 2 left-arm spinners. But I think that's sort of the luxury you have when you have someone like a Roston Chase who can chip in with his off spin, a Craig Brathwaite who also can bowl off spin. So I think it provided a good variation to the West Indian attack, and the bowlers did their job. Even though Danajaya de Silva got away in the second innings, I still think you can't fault the bowling, because I think
Yeah.
they really did what they could to put that Sri Lankan batting lineup, which was pretty comfortable at goal, not only in the past but in this series as well, under some serious pressure.
Yeah, and especially I think Pathum Nisanka's wicket was very crucial. I think it was 152 for 3, and then after losing Matthews to, I think Matthews's injury caused a collapse in Sri. I mean that momentum shifted straight away from Sri Lanka, if I'm not mistaken. I think. And then Pamal and Warrikan, especially their lines, especially the direct hitters asked. Did you see a marked improvement in the lines and lengths bowled by Jamil Warrikan?
Yeah, I think so. I think when I watched him in Bangladesh, he was equally impressive, but I think he's had some time between that to sort of work on the things required to get wickets. And what I liked about this spell from Warrican in this series was he was, different. He didn't allow batters to get comfortable. Usually he's very flat and fast, but I did see him try to loop some deliveries, try to bowl with the arm, the one that goes straight on. I thought he was pretty impressive, to be honest. And what I loved the most about the West Indian spinners was the constant making the batters play. That to me is how you sort of attack, the best mode of attack, I should say. Just continuously making the batters play. And I thought both Pramod and Warrican, it could be sort of because the surface didn't really spin much, but they would just constantly attack the stumps of the Sri Lankan batters, and I think it paid dividends for them.
Do you think the West Indies spin bowlers were good, or just the Sri Lankan batting was so bad, handling Borican and Pamal, two left arm spinners? And do you think the pitch favored the West Indies spinners? In the first innings, compared to Sri Lankan spinners, do you think the West Indies spinners bowled the right lengths and the right right lengths and lengths to the Sri Lankan batsman? Was it a surprise? Do you think it was a surprise to see Sri Lanka struggling against Pamal and Warrikan? Did you expect that to happen?
I think it was a surprise, yes, because obviously it's at goal, their home ground. And I do expect very
Yeah.
good players to spin. But at the same time, I think you have to give credit to the West Indian spinners because this surface wasn't a rank turner. I mean, this played very different to the traditional goal surface. So I think the fact that they were still able to do so well in that first innings when I thought the pitch was extremely flat, I think it was just a testament to the lines and lengths that they bowled more so than relying on the surface.
Yeah, true. Yeah. Give me a second. Yeah.
Sure.
Okay. So talking about, yeah. Let's shift to the first innings of many people are asking for the link. I'm so sorry. Nikhil is very busy, so we can't go for that long today. We want to make it a bit short, so that's why I can't send the link since we have a lot to discuss. Who was asking on the comments? Yeah. Let's go through West Indies first innings and Bradford scoring a half century, and there's some sort of resistance from the openers. I think there was a 60-run partnership. Good to see West Indies. I think their intent in the first innings, especially their first six batsmen scoring double digits. So that intent from West Indies, but could they have got a bigger lead? I mean, 49-run lead. I think it would have not satisfied West Indies, especially knowing that they have to bat last in the goal pitch. So, yeah, thoughts on that? Yeah.
Yeah, I think I was slightly disappointed to see the way how sort of Craig Brathwaite and Jermaine Blackwood to start with went in the start. I think they were brilliant. Blackwood has come on leaps and bounds in terms of the test format and to open the batting for the first time in his career and sort of change the whole mold of his game to be a lot more persistent and a lot more determined and mature in his approach. I thought he was fantastic to watch in this series. Craig Brathwaite had 100 written yet again and found some way that to give it away. And that's another part of his game, the convergence, because he keeps getting to those half centuries, but the next step is kicking on. You mentioned the top six getting double figures. I think the key takeaway from me there is, while this is good and an improvement from the past, the next step has to be someone put their hand up and get a big 100, like what Danajaya de Silva did or Karuna Ratne did in the first test.
Yeah.
because that's going to be the key to winning test matches, to getting those big leads. And I keep saying, when you're on top, the good teams stay on top. So I think there are learnings from this series from the West Indies perspective. Yes, it's good to see the top six in double figures, but you need more, especially in a position like that. You're coasting. Even when you lose the first wicket, Bonner comes in, you then build another partnership. So I think, yes, they're spending time in the middle, but you have to find ways to build those partnerships, and someone has to put their hand up and get a big 100.
Yeah. And especially, I think Craig Brathwaite has had a brilliant 2021. I think he's in the top five run scorers in Test, especially in that Bangladesh series. Continuing that in Sri Lanka, scoring a half century in the second Test match. And especially, very unfortunate about Jeremy Solzano. Do you think he'll come back in the next series? I don't know about his concussion right now. Do you think Blackwood will continue opening with Brathwaite, or you see a change happening in the next test series?
I think that's the question everyone is asking, to be honest. I think Blackwood may have been given that opening slot based on the fact that obviously Solozano was injured. But I think he was very impressive. And what I would say is he has a good record against England, which is the next series next year. It'll be interesting to see sort of, and I think this is what will tell us when he goes back to the first class level, when the first class season begins early next year. If he does open the batting for Jamaica, I think it's a clear indication that the West Indies want him to open the batting in the future. But I think more than likely, probably will see Solozano slot into that role. But I think a lot could change based on that first class season, based on the best versus best games, the trial games. So I don't think it's so hell set. But obviously, very unlucky for Solozano to be struck in the first innings and not able to come out and bat and prove himself.
Yeah. And on about Shea Hope also, do you think that he's a test specialist, especially, or do you think he can only play ODIs and 2020s? Because we've seen him struggling, and especially coming as a substitute for Jeremy Solzano in the first test, then getting opportunity in the second test. He hasn't much impressed. I mean most of the cricket fans on the way, because he is a big name. I mean, when it comes to limited overs cricket, but in test we haven't seen him much performing consistently. So yeah, thoughts on Shea Hope, whether he can adjust, whether he'll get another chance as actually after this series. So yeah, thoughts on that. Yeah.
I think it's a tough one. Shea-Hope came into this series, and what got him in this series was scoring runs in the trial games. He scored 170. So I think obviously a very disappointing run up from him. It's going to be very hard for him to retain his place for the next series, because this is 4 innings now. He was dismissed by Ramesh Mendez in similar fashion, unable to register that score. And I do think, there are too many people knocking on the door that have scored runs around the region that will be eyeing that number 4 spot. So I think it might be tough for him, even Roston Chase as well, to retain their spots. But I think a lot, as I keep saying, will depend on the first class season. If he gets runs there, especially in the Caribbean, with that series against England being in the Caribbean as well, we could see him sort of filter back in.
Yeah. Rohan here in the comment section says West Indies batting in test is not consistent. Do you have any thoughts on that, or yeah, any controversy,
I
or
think
yeah, any feedback on that?
he has every right to say that. I mean, if they can go from 92 to 106 for 6, it just tells you all you need to know. So it's these things, I think, in the
Yeah.
batting line, the lapses in concentrations, and I keep saying, when you're on top, you have to stay on top. Those are the type of things that I think the West Indies sort of lack in Test cricket, and it probably is what separates us from the best teams.
Yeah. I think West Indies had a good record in Test until they lost 2-0. I mean, they haven't lost a Test match before the Sri Lankan Test series. When you talk about the Bangladesh Test series, winning that, and then Sri Lanka, I think they drew 0-0 at West Indies, and then against Pakistan, I think they had a positive series as well back in the Caribbean. But yeah, against Sri Lanka, I think yeah, West Indies sort of struggled in Sri Lankan conditions, which is expected. Yeah. Shankar here says West Indies playing like a club team don't deserve to play Test cricket. I don't know how to say. Yeah, yeah. So yes, let's continue on this. Yeah, talk about Sri Lankan bowling. were you impressed with Ramesh Mendis? Because for us, I think he came as a batting all rounder, but coming as a bowling all rounder and struggling. I mean, the West Indies batsmen struggling against Ramesh Mendis, especially, and then actually making West Indies get only a 49-run lead. So, how crucial was that from the Sri Lankan spinners, restricting West Indies to a 100-run lead? And do you think if West Indies got a 100-run lead or 150-run lead, the match could have been different? I mean, the situation.
Yeah, of course it would have been different, but obviously it didn't happen like that. And I think Ramesh Mendez, player of the series, 18 wickets, obviously got some runs with the bat in that last innings as well. I think he was really fantastic to watch. Really pulled them back into the game in situations where he thought the West Indies were on top. He just continued to take wickets. And what I like is just how hardworking he is. I mean, bowling away ball after ball, staying locked in, trying to find different ways to penetrate that West Indies batting lineup. He was fantastic, deserves a ton of credit. And I think Sri Lanka have definitely found a gem sort of in the rough going forward, because he's the type of bowler to me that I think he can sort of perform at all, sort of on all surfaces, because this surface was not the most conducive to spin. And I think
Yeah.
obviously the fact that he has a triple hundred in first class cricket as well, um,
Yeah.
does wonders for him in terms of and the balance of the team if he can bat and consistently get scores.
Mm, yeah. And talk about the second innings as well of Sri Lanka. Let's go through the second innings because those two runouts were very crucial. I think at one point, I think Sri Lanka was struggling. They were 3 for 7 3. I think Pathum Nisanka's wicket also was important. I mean, they were 221 for 8. And talk about the fielding. We'll talk about West Indies fielding. How good were they? The energetic. I mean, their. Saving runs for the team. How good were West Indies in the field, especially in the second innings? I saw some good intent from the West Indies fielders, especially in day 3, day 4 in tough conditions in Gaul. So some comment from that, Nikhil. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the West Indies were good, as I said. Can't fault the bowlers, but you just have to give credit to Dhananjaya De Silva. I don't think the West Indies did much wrong. They were well on top, especially when they got that Nisanka wicket, but he just batted them out of the game. He just seemed like he would not give up or not be out. So I think he deserves tremendous credit, and that 100 probably is a match-winning one, because if they were only able to get maybe a 150-run lead, the West Indies could have easily won the game. So yeah, definitely an innings where those are the type of innings you need from your experienced players in tough situations. Someone needs to put their hand up, and he did that.
Yeah, and especially the ninth wicket partnership between Dhananjay De Silva and Lasith Ambuldeniya. Why did West Indies struggle, especially to get Ambuldeniya out? I know Ambuldeniya has done well before. Also, I mean in previous Test series, also in the England series, I think he scored a 40. But why did they struggle to pick up the last two wickets? Were they? I have no explanations. How they struggled to get that ninth wicket, and finally when they got that Sri Lanka declared. Any explanation on how why West Indies, I mean especially the spinners, struggled to get either DDS or Ambuldeniya out, especially Ambuldeniya in the second innings?
I think if I knew the answer to that, brother, I wouldn't be sitting here talking to you. But
Yeah.
I think probably just maybe a let off on the gas pedal. May have just relaxed a bit, with Dhananjaya De Silva there. But as I keep saying, I don't even think the West Indies bowled badly to him. I thought they attacked him, but just his ability to score continuously. And I think Mbadanian deserves credit as well to bat
Yeah.
124 deliveries. Hadn't shown me much in the series before that with the bat in hand. So
Yeah.
that partnership obviously was the game winning one for Sri Lanka. And I think both of those deserve immense credit. I don't think it was so much the West Indies bad bowling, but just their prowess in terms of being able to score and put the West Indies under pressure.
True. Yeah. Very true. Yeah. Can't fault the West Indies bowlers, especially after that first innings, dismissing Sri Lanka out for 204. Yeah, West Indies had a chance to win, in my opinion, but yeah, it seems like Ananje De Silva is too good. And yeah, obviously, this is good for Sri Lanka as well coming forward because Ananje De Silva didn't play any matches in the 2020 World Cup. Mickey Arthur did say that Dhananjay De Silva was practicing for this Test series, and good to see that he showed, especially when Angelo Matthews batted at number 9. Unfortunate injury. We were one batsman short, And when Dhananjay De Silva took the credits, he's played so many good hundreds of pressure situations, especially in that Australia Test series in 2016. Then I think against Bangladesh as well when they were in trouble. So he's saved us in similar situations before. So this is a vital knock. Yeah, and the bowling again, I think. Yeah, especially Ruston Chase coming to this. Test match. I think in the first test he was good. I mean, picking up a 5 wicket haul, but coming up, I mean, would you stick with Pamal and Borican coming up if it's in subcontinental conditions? I mean, going with the three spinners, or any thoughts on the West Indies spin trio? Would you stick with them, or yeah? Because Austin Chase, I know we say he's a part-time spinner, but we know that he is effective. I mean, in certain circumstances, yeah, yeah. So many
Yeah,
thoughts on Ruston Chase, yeah.
it's tough to say that you sort of stick with the same three. I think you have to play conditions, you play the opposition as well. The West Indies only would have played the two left arm spinners because of the amount of right handers Sri Lanka had in that lineup. Remember, Rakeem Cornwall has been excellent in Asia, dating back to Afghanistan, where he took 10,
Yeah.
his first test series, Bangladesh earlier this year. So I think probably Cornwall is probably a sure bet. Chase, it depends on his batting, and then the two left arm spinners. I think it depends on conditions and sort of the makeup of the opposition. I don't think it's easy to just sit back and say we stick with this trio going forward because many things change in Test cricket. Many different opposition. Another team might have tons of left-handers. Then those two left-arm spinners are not as effective. So I think all those things are factors which need to be considered when picking a team.
Yeah. And cricket, the Tasham is talking about a Sri Lankan young future Pathum Nisank has turned his career from being a number six to becoming an opener with great potential. He is one of the best Sri Lankan openers to help his cricket. But the issue is that Lahiru Tirimana might be coming back to the in the next Test series. So I don't know. I think Nisanka will be back batting in the middle order. But talk about Nisanka and especially his 100 in that West Indies Test series back in February on his debut to score that 100 and saving Sri Lanka in a drawn series. How much have you seen of Pathum Nisank, and do you think? I know I don't know whether he'll open in the next Test series because of Tirimana's challenge, but yeah, thoughts on Nisanka? Yeah,
Yeah,
mainly as a Test player. Yeah.
from the first time I seen him, I was very impressed. He came to the Caribbean. He was technically sound, was really impressive for such a young man, and I think even watching, I know it's not test format, but watching him at the World Cup as well, really impressive young player. And I think one that Sri Lanka need to hold on to, need to develop around because I think he deserves all the opportunities he can get, especially maybe if not at the top of the order, batting somewhere for Sri Lanka because I think he's been brilliant to watch. Just the way he's able to adapt to different situations and really in this test series, his temperament, even losing Karunaratne early in that innings, he just was able to sort of hold an end and just bat for a long period. So I thought he was extremely impressive and definitely someone that I think Sri Lanka need to mold and develop around for the next couple of years.
True. Yeah. Cricket Tashan is asking, Cornwall can be looked only if you want to drop Mayers and bat him at his batting position, and will you get spin? So thoughts on that?
I don't think
Um,
Mears and Cornwall compete for the same spot. I think Kyle Mears, obviously top order batter that just part time bowls his seam. So I don't think they compete for the same spot. I think you would look at someone like a fast bowler or even uh, a Roston Chase maybe for that Cornwall spot. I don't think it comes down to Kyle Mears. I think he's vital sort of in that top order and had a decent run in Test cricket thus far.
yeah. Cricket Tashan is saying, Satwik here, Nikhil sir. I think
No
on the
worries.
tweet. Yeah. So he's Satwik. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah. So let's talk about the second innings of West Indies. Yeah. I think they resisted really well until lunch. I was worried as well when they were, I think, 1 for 65. That wicket before lunch, I think, getting, I think it was Blackwood, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, before lunch. How crucial was that for Sri Lanka? Because otherwise, I think it would have been drawn if that wicket didn't happen. But yeah, that collapse from West Indies after that, from 2 for 65 to getting all out for 132. Did you expect some? I mean, West Indies could have done a bit better, or yeah, thoughts on that? Yeah, this collapse from West Indies, and especially good bowling from Sri Lanka, obviously from Ramesh Mendis and Ambuldenia. But yeah,
Yeah,
could
obviously
West
not a
Indies have
great
done?
batting display. Sorry, not a great batting display from the West Indies. Should have done a lot better. I think, as you said, they were well in command in that first session, and Blackwood was, I guess, kind of unlucky to go right on the stroke of lunch. But even when he's dismissed in that position, what good teams will do is someone else in the middle order will put their hand. I think the middle order vulnerabilities has been the area where we've lacked throughout the year, throughout the last years in Test cricket, and I think it's an area which that desperately needs addressing. And until we rectify that, it's tough to ask either the lower order, who have been so brilliant for us in the last couple of years, or even the top order, to just continuously score and score and score. So someone needs to put their hand up in a situation like that. Bono was brilliant, just didn't have the support, unfortunately. And I think, yeah, a lot to learn from this series, but just not good enough, the West Indies batting lineup.
Yeah. And this is the last test match. I mean, test match that Mickey Arthur coach. So this is also could be worrying signs for Sri Lanka as well. But any insights? Do you know like who would coach Sri Lanka? I don't know. I don't know. From my point, I think it's going to be a local coach. But do you think they should go with a foreign coach, or they should go with a local coach right now? Because there's so much issues right now. Being a sports commentator and analyzing on world cricket, what should Sri Lanka approach? Especially, this is sad to see Mickey Arthur leaving. I mean, for in Sri Lanka cricket, but yeah, what's the next approach that Sri Lanka could should take right now?
I think picking a coach is always an important asset for sort of an organization. So Mickey Arthur, I think, did extremely well in his role to sort of develop the talent and win games for Sri Lanka. I think he sort of transformed the level of seriousness within Sri Lankan cricket. So I think, he's got whoever comes in next has got big shoes to fill. I'm not sure who that will be. You probably will know better than me, but yeah, I definitely think there are options out there, and whoever comes in will have a big reputation to fill from Arthur.
Yeah, even I was surprised when Mickey Arthur wasn't given a bigger extension. I mean, the 2-year contract that was given, and the Sri Lanka Cricket Board didn't give him a new contract. So that was unfortunate, I would say. But yeah, he's going back to Derbyshire Cricket County as head of cricket. So yeah, so good luck for Mickey Arthur over there. Thank you so much for what you've done to Sri Lanka cricket, and actually um, bringing up new cricket talents. I mean, youngsters in the side: Pathum Nisanka, Charit Tasalanka, Chamika Karunaratne. When it comes to 2020 cricket, we have Dhananjay De Silva has molded back. So many good. Yeah. Nikhil, could you give me like 3 or 4 minutes if that's fine?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. So let's quickly wrap things up. Yeah. Yeah. But yeah. About Joshua Da Silva, as being a test batsman, do you think he's batting too low? I mean, I know Jason Holt is batting higher, but Joshua Da Silva, especially in the first test, I saw some good intent, and his batting impressed me in the first test match, especially that partnership with Bonner in the first test. Do you think he's batting too low, or yeah, because they have a deep batting, or if Cornwall also bats, they can bat until number 9. So yeah, thoughts on Joshua Da Silva, and especially his wicket keeping behind the stumps and his banter, and yeah, towards the Sri Lankan batsman. Yeah, so thoughts on that? Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think he's batting too low. I think probably was in a rough patch coming into this series, and I think he's got the temperament, especially this innings where they were 18 for 6, and he was able to come in and reconstruct things. Shows a lot about his character and sort of the where his test game is, um, sort of going forward in the direction that it's going. So I think he was impressive. Good to see his temperament and him get some runs under his belt. It'll do a world of good for his confidence, and I was happy for him. I'm impressed, and I think he's got a bright future in Test cricket.
Yeah. We'll quickly wrap this things up. I just want to ask this final question from you. What were the positives that West Indies can take in this Test series versus Sri Lanka? And looking forward to the rest of the Test series is upcoming for West Indies in the ICC Chess Championship. Yeah. So thoughts on the positives that West Indies cricket could take, the Windies cricket coming up for the
Yeah, I
upcoming
think
Test series. Yeah.
the positives probably for me would be seeing how well the spinners did. I think when we go to the subcontinent, there's always a massive disparity between the opposition spinners, the home spinners, and our spinners. And I think Permaul, Warwickon, Cornwall, and Chase deserve immense credit because of the pressure they were able to put on and the wickets that they were able to consistently pick up. It kept pegging back Sri Lanka and made them sort of think, made them have to go out of their way to do things in order to get runs. So I thought they were extremely impressive. It's an area where we have struggled in the past, and I think that's something we can take forward when we travel around to India or to other subcontinent nations and tour. Having the confidence that you have spinners that can pick up wickets with great regularity.
Yeah. We just take one more comment also. West Indies prepared for left arm spinners, but Ramesh Mendis was out of syllabus. Yeah. Especially against right arm spinners, Nikhil. I think were they prepared? I mean, the West Indies batsmen to face Ramesh Mendis. Do you think they were expecting Ambul Denia and Praveen Jayavikrama to be getting the wickets, especially from the last test series? Did you see some differences from the West Indies, especially the openers and the middle order, when facing Ramesh Mendis when compared to Ambul Denia and Praveen Jayavikrama?
I don't think it was a lot to prepare for Mendes, obviously into his first series, but I definitely know that Mbadenia was a threat for them, and they would have sort of done their research on him, but they wouldn't have had much to do on Ramesh Mendes being on how fresh he is into the game. So definitely clearly worked in Sri Lanka's favor the fact that they were unable to plan for him. But I think still the West Indies will sort of learn from how they went against Mendes, and I think a lot of teams around the world that have to play Sri Lanka coming up will watch this series and try to analyze how they can neutralize the threat of Ramesh Mendes.
Yeah. Okay, so we'll wrap things up because Nikhil is a bit busy. Yeah, so thank you so much, Nikhil, for coming on the sports breakdown, taking your time in your busy schedule, and hope we can discuss on more cricket upcoming if you're free. Yeah, so thank you so much, Nikhil, for coming today. Yeah.
Thank you for having me, and to all your viewers, definitely continue to tune into the sports breakdown. Great content and fantastic cricket.
Thank you so much, Nikhil. Yeah. So yeah. So thank you so much to everyone. Yes, sorry, I put Nikhil in the waiting room, but yeah, because since he's busy. But thank you so much to everyone who joined in to the sports breakdown, who tuned in. Yeah, please do check out. So this was a fabulous series for Sri Lanka. They're top in the ICC Test Championships right now. So thank you so much, guys, and yeah, see you in the next video. Yeah. So let's just go through the ICC Test Championships right now. The points. Sorry guys, Nikhil was a bit busy and he had to go at 9, so that was why. And sorry for the delay as well. But let's just go through the ICC Test Championships right now. Yeah. So we'll take your comments for another video. So yeah. Um, yes. So Sri Lanka right now number one with 24 points with 100% percentage. It goes on percentage of points. So which is why Sri Lanka number one. I think India number two with the percentage. Wait, I'll check on a better website. I think it is ICC. Wait, give me a second. Yeah, yeah. Give me a second. Yes, it's yeah. So yeah, it comes as a percentage of points. So Sri Lanka lead with 100% in the two-match test series. That could completely change coming up. And Pakistan number two, 66.66%, 24 points. India with number three, New Zealand number four. Yeah. So this is how they work. Win 12 points, 100%. Six if it's a tie, it's rarely going to happen. 50, it's a draw. 4% of the points remain available per point. Percentage of points 33.33, and points available per series 224 points, 336 points, 448 points, 560 points. And for slow over 8 teams, we lose one championship point for each over shot. Yeah, so that's the update. Yeah. So many comments here. Anything for me? Yeah. Fine, Mickey is leaving, nothing personal. Yeah. Yeah, Nikhil, thank you so much, Nikhil, sir. Yeah, thank you so much, Nikhil Uttamchandhani. If I'm sorry if I'm not pronounced, but yeah, thank you so much, Nikhil, sir, for coming today. And yeah, for Satwik also, this was special because I saw that tweet yesterday and Nikhil, sir did reply to him. Yeah, so thank you so much. Yeah. Any thoughts? Yeah. Aman says DDS played well but very inconsistent. Yeah. Cricket the Tasham asks, who will coach Sri Lanka cricket? Right now, the sources say it's going to be either Roshan Mahanama, Sri Lanka legend, or it's going to be Naviz Nawaz, who's the Bangladesh under 19 cricket coach. He may be available, but I don't think Mahela is going to coach. They're saying he will come as a consultant along with Maninga Kulasekara, Herath. I think they are going to come to help Mahela Jayawardene. So that's the news that's going on. But still not sure who's going to be the next coach. Yeah, but a good farewell for Mikiata. Yeah. So good win for Sri Lanka. Great win. And the positives that Sri Lanka can take, in my opinion, is I'll send the link. Anyone can join. Sorry that Nikhil had to go leave early, but if anyone wants to come and join, who's watching, yeah. Here's the link. Anyone can join. Yeah, here's the link. Anyone can join. Yeah, to discuss. Yeah, the positives. I think Dhananjay De Silva, fabulous 100, brilliant. Especially dropped out of the Test series, sorry, the 2020 World Cup, then playing well in this Test series at number 5. But the biggest doubt is Angelo Matthews, and for the upcoming LPL, for me, I thought Matthews's injury would have been decisive and potentially could have caused a problem for the batting lineup for Sri Lanka. But brilliant batting. Credit should go to Ambul Denia as well. The partnership between Dhananjay De Silva and Ambul Denia strengthened the Sri Lankan team and lifted the score up, went to a lead towards 300. And yeah, Sri Lankan bowlers were brilliant. Ramesh Mendis had a tremendous series. Brilliant. When he has a good test, he was first brought up as a batting all-rounder, but it seems like his bowling is doing all credits, and he deserves the man of the series. And for a kid like that, just brilliant. Fabulous performance from Ramesh Mendis. Lasit Tembuldeni also should be given credit for that 5 wicket haul in the second um, test match, and his bowling was good. Yeah, let's go through the stats, especially. Yeah, um, sorry for everyone if Nikhil had to join. So Nikhil sir had to leave early. Yeah. But Dhananjay De Silva second, brilliant 100. His average is big. But Dimut Karunaratne, fabulous series once again. Unfortunate run out in the second innings. Brilliant fielding from West Indies. 278 runs. Average is 69.50. Pathum Nisanka, meanwhile, top three are Sri Lankans leading in this run scorers. Bona comes as the highest run scorer, but Bradford also had a good series. Not good series, but in the second innings of the second test match, Bona also was good. Yeah. Also, we'll talk about the bowling of most wickets. Ramesh Mendis, you see 18 wickets. Brilliant. 6 for 70 best bowling figures. Economy 2.56, average 15.27, 5 wicket haul. Lasit Tambuldenia 13 wickets, average 18.61, and at an economy of 2.08, strike rate 53.6, 5 wicket hauls. Brilliant stuff. Roston Chase also picked up a 5 wicket. Sorry, Permaul picked up a 5 wicket haul, and Chase picked up a 5 wicket haul. So that's fabulous to see. Yeah. So sorry everyone. Yeah. Yeah, so we discussed everything. Yeah, I think so. Sri Lanka positives, Dhananjay De Silva, I would say. The Sri Lankan spinners, we didn't need Manindu Hasaranga. I think there were questions on Manindu Hasaranga, so I'll take those. um I won't take the West Indies comments because yeah. Wait, give me a second. Yeah, Ramesh Mendy's dumb best, but the way he has bowled this series was pretty good. Yeah, I agree. I completely agree. Shankar here says surprised that Hasaranga isn't playing. West Indies has a weakness against leg spin, and Hasaranga would have exploited it. I agree, but the thing is, Hasaranga playing all three formats right now, Shankar sir. I don't think that's happening, and I think by the way, he's playing Abu Dhabi T10, so which is why I think Hasaranga. Um, didn't want to play this test series. He's performing very well in the Abu Dhabi T10, and then coming up for the LPL. Good preparation for him also. Yeah, but for future series, I do think Hasaranga can be included. But right now, I think after the 2020 World Cup, I think it's a good choice that Sri Lanka didn't go with Hasaranga with the amount of spinners they have. Lasit Tambuldenia, Ramesh Mendis, and Praveen Jaivikram. I don't think we need a Hasaranga right now. And he's only played 4 test matches. He struggled. Better keep him for the 2020 and 50 over format for me right now. In the future, maybe once he's evolved as a white ball format player, then bring him for the test setup, but not right now. Yes, that's what cricket the Tasham is saying. Hasaranga is not made for test cricket because his action will never support it. So don't play him test, otherwise his career would be vanished. No, the problem is he's googly. Now that's the problem I'm saying. Because he bores the googly so much. I think 70 or 80% of the time he bores the googly. And when it comes to test cricket, you have to have your variations. Not only googlies, you need to bowl other variations like a stock delivery, or have to have one or two more variations, and that's what Hasaranga should develop, in my opinion. If he's bowling the googlies always in test cricket, then easily the test batsman can, I mean, especially test players can read his deliveries after a few test matches. So at first he would be effective, but in the long term period he won't be effective. So he needs to learn a few more variations when it comes to test cricket. We know Shane Warne, leg spinner, he learns so much um, variation. So Hasaranga, if he's wanting to focus on test cricket, then he needs at least 1 or 2 years to focus only on test cricket or first class if he wants to be a brilliant leg spinners, because we haven't seen that much leg spinners dominating in test cricket after Shane Warne maybe, or even Salken Mustak. So yeah, he needs to learn more variations. In my opinion, the googly won't work. Only the googly won't work. As Satwik is saying, he's right. Hasaranga is not made for Test cricket, but I don't agree for the long term. Short term, yes, he needs to focus on 2020 and 50 over format right now. But for the long term, if he wants to play a Test cricket for career, then he needs to take 1 or 2 years away from maybe franchise cricket and develop on more variations right now, Hasaranga. And please check out Haman's video on Manidu Hasaranga's analysis, and he'll explain more further on Hasaranga, since he's a spinner, like Chinaman spinner himself. He knows more than me. So yeah. So we took the comments here. Shankar, he says there is nothing like not made for Test cricket. He's an attacking wicket taking ball. If he's good in white ball, why not red ball? Yes, I agree. I agree, Shankar sir. But I think that he's playing too much franchise cricket right now, and I think he's more focused on 2020 cricket mainly. He's number one test spinner right now. The same can be said to Tabriz Shamsi then from South Africa. Why is he not playing test cricket as well? So that's those questions come up. Right now, I think he should focus on the white ball format. In the future, if maybe Lasit Tambul Deni or Praveen Jayawickrama gets an injury or something happens, if they don't have enough spinners, then maybe bring in Manidu Hasaranga. The problem also is for the Sri Lanka cricket was that Wanindu Hasaranga is only played in overseas conditions. That's the other issue that I have. The same problem happened to Pathum Nisanka also until he was brought back to the World Cup. Same thing with Wanindu Hasaranga. He was only played in the overseas test matches, especially against South Africa. And that's the biggest mistake, in my opinion. So that's why we should see how Hasaranga performs at home against best good teams. Upcoming series is against Australia and Pakistan. I think that's the best chance for a player like Hasaranga to play in the test matches coming up. So that's my thoughts. But right now, I think he's focused on the T10 and maybe of the money and all. I think he's playing this franchise cricket all over. But I think in a few years he'll realize that he'll want to play test cricket. That will happen. That will happen. That's a evolving process, and I think Hasaranga will play test cricket very soon, but not right now in the short term. Yeah. Prasanti Priyashani saying, I think we have good bowlers for test cricket. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We have good bowlers. Yeah. I agree with you, but not fast bowlers. Not good fast bowler in test. I don't think right now we need at home. Away, yes, we need two fast bowlers right now, and I think we'll need Vishwa Fernando to be tested. Dusmant Chamira was rested in this second test match. Yeah, Lakmal is the only proper fast bowler in my opinion when it comes to test cricket, with his consistency. But yeah, the second fast bowler is a problem. I think Lahiru Kumara, um, maybe Vishwa Fernando, they should be the ones who should be evolved. And let's see how they do in overseas test matches coming up. We have a overseas test match against India, but I think that's subcontinent. Maybe in West Indies conditions, or maybe South African conditions, then Australia, New Zealand, yes, then that's where the pace bowlers will be tested, and that's where I want to see how consistent this test bowling, I mean the fast bowling lineup is. Right now, I think Surangal Akmal is consistent. Lahiru Kumara, he has shown before in Test cricket. Vishwa Fernando, he's been shown before. I tell these three bowlers, Surangal Akmal, Lahiru Kumara, and Vishwa Fernando are the most suited for Test cricket. We have some upcoming talent also, Chamika Gunasekara. Let's see how he does in overseas Test conditions. I think he deserves a debut with how he performed against the Pakistan Chinese in the the Pakistan under 23 in Sri Lanka. I think he deserves. So we need more overseas tours. Then that's where I think, especially in Australia, New Zealand, West Indies, South Africa, England, that's where those five countries, those that will test the fast bowlers, and we'll see. Right now, I think the spinners are settled in this test team. The test will come when we go overseas. Yeah, at home, I think we are good right now, but overseas, I think that's where we'll be tested. Yeah. So we discussed that much. Yeah. So thank you so much. Yeah. Rohan here says West Indies prepared for left arm spinners, but Ramesh Mendis, yeah, I think we answered. Yeah, so thank you so much, guys, for tuning in. Nikhil had to go early. I'm so sorry about that. But he was busy today, and we got him in a difficult circumstance. And we also had to start late also today, unfortunately, due to these power cuts here in Sri Lanka. So sorry for that as well. But yeah, so tune in tomorrow. Maybe we'll be doing a theme song reaction once again when franchise. I mean, the Dambula Giants are trying to release a theme song tomorrow, so maybe Dimans and Aman will be there to react to that. And yeah, New Zealand versus India second test going on. We'll do that. And Sunday will be bringing Aaron from the Cricket Corner so once again to the Sports Breakdown to discuss about England cricket and their preparation towards the Ashes coming up. So that will be coming on Sunday afternoon. LPL is starting on Sunday evening. The first match. So much to discuss about. Yeah, comments going on. Yeah, I don't see that happening, Prasanti. I don't see if Hasaranga plays. No, spinners generally don't get injured. I think Hasaranga can play all formats. But I'm saying right now, I think he should focus only on limited over. Maybe in 1 or 2 years, then focus on Test cricket. Once you get your variations right. Because right now, I think he's bowling the googlies too much. This is the same thing with Mahish Dikshan. He's bowling the carom delivery too much and bowling the stock delivery less. So once these two plays 2020 cricket regularly to in 1 or 2 years, maybe then bring them to test cricket. Not right now, but focus on ODI in 2020 cricket because I know all three formats are important right now. But for Hasaranga, I think we have the too many spinners at home. Maybe if one is injured, then maybe we can consider Hasaranga, especially in at a home series. Let's see. He needs to get an opportunity first of all to be in the squad. Even I was surprised when Hasaranga wasn't picked. But I think that's the explanation, especially because he of his workload and he wanted to play for the Abu Dhabi T10 league. So till then, see you guys. Thank you so much, and we'll be back tomorrow with the reaction video of Dambulo Giants live, and maybe the Colombo Stars theme song if it's coming. And then Sunday afternoon again with Aaron, the cricket connoisseur, will be discussing on England cricket and their preparation. Yeah, so for the Ashes, and maybe we'll do a watch along for the Ashes coming up. First innings, day one, day two. We'll see how that goes. But until now, see you guys and tune in. Do please do subscribe to the Sports Breakdown. Tell your friends who Prasanti, please tell your friends or your colleagues to subscribe to the Sports Breakdown. If you haven't, please subscribe to the Sports Breakdown as well, to all the new viewers over here. And till then, see you guys in the next video.